The American military believes that North Korea is transferring thousands of short-range missiles to Russia. However, this information looks very dubious, Defense Express military expert Ivan Kirichevsky said on air at Espresso. According to him, the statement by the commander of the US Pacific Forces, Admiral Samuel Paparo, looks rather strange because not only North Korea or Russia, but even China are not capable of producing such a quantity of missiles. The production of these missiles depends on substances that are in short supply in the world, the expert said. He does not rule out that when it came to deliveries of short-range missiles, they meant rockets. The expert notes that Ukrainian intelligence reported that the DPRK transferred at least 200 M1991 missile launchers, which have a firing range of up to 60 kilometers with a 240mm caliber rockets, to Russia. Kirichevsky said that even Patriot is not designed to intercept missiles from MLRS, so in theory, we would need an Iron Dome for such threats. But obtaining an Iron Dome is such a sad and long story that it is not worth dwelling on it, he added. Kirichevsky also commented on the information that the Russians had begun dropping explosive objects from the Shaheds. According to the expert, 16 such cylindrical charges 40 centimeters long were found yesterday, which could indeed have been dropped from drones, but only one of them detonated. However, Kirichevsky noted that there is no 100% evidence that these objects were actually dropped by the Shaheds. Taking only one option related to the Shaheds is not entirely adequate because the Russians are taking various measures, the expert emphasized. As reported recently, the British publication The Guardian, citing the commander of the US Armed Forces in the Pacific region, Samuel Paparo, wrote that the military assistance that China and the DPRK are providing to Russia in the war against Ukraine threatens his region, since Moscow is providing critical support to both countries in return. In particular, he said that the DPRK allegedly sends thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of artillery shells and thousands of short-range missiles to Russia. The Guardian used the word missiles, which is used for cruise and ballistic missiles, while rockets, such as those for MLRS, are called rockets in English. Also yesterday, the State Emergency Service of Ukraine reported that Russian drones allegedly began to scatter explosive objects. Such objects were found in Kiev, in particular after another raid by Russian UAVs. However, the State Emergency Service did not directly say that they were talking specifically about Shaheds.
A restaurant worker in Ukraine captured on his body cam the moment of a Russian missile attack on Kryvyi Rih that killed 20 civilians, including 9 children. According to Associated Press, the footage shows injured civilians near the restaurant and injured children in the restaurant's yard minutes after the attack. Anger and outrage gripped the hometown of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky after the Russian missile tore through apartment buildings and blasted a playground. More than 70 were wounded in the attack last Friday evening. The UN Human Rights Office in Ukraine said it was the deadliest single verified strike harming children since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022. It was also one of the deadliest attacks so far this year. Russia's defense ministry said that it had hit a restaurant hosting what it called a command and instructor meeting, and that 85 Ukrainian soldiers and Western officers had been killed. But CCTV from inside the restaurant showed no military presence. A waiter at the restaurant, Veronika Harolska, said customers had been celebrating a birthday and had just left before the attack. If they had stayed there, because the hall was right in front of the epicenter of the explosion and everything was falling there, Harolska said.
Ты живой?
Да, нормально.
Иди сюда. Ракета, заходи!
Да все.
Может, второй будет, блин. Куда попала, сука? У меня камера включена. Люди.
По детской площадке.
По площадке, блядь. Скорую. Вызываем, вызываем.
Так, быстро, жгут какой-то. Мама, не двигайся.
Ну все.